So I work at Oregon State University and for uh, the State Fisheries Genomics Lab, which is in partnership with the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife. So I work mostly for Oregon State University, but my PI, so my primary investigator or boss, she is the state fisheries geneticist for the state of Oregon. And that's a jointly appointed position with Oregon State University and the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife.
That sounds really fascinating. That's great. So like with your job, what do you do like with STEM? Is STEM incorporated within it at all?
Yeah, so I'm technically a fisheries geneticist, I guess, which is pretty much means I do genetics all day, every day, which probably falls into that area of STEM. So what we do at the State Fisheries Genomics Lab is we work with the state as well as multiple other collaborators, tribal units, other federal agencies, et cetera, to do assessments for fish within our state and our collaborators' areas, mostly for conservation management. So help inform those management decisions that are made about these species every day.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. Awesome. What would you say is like your favorite part about your job? Like what makes you want to like get up every day and like, I don't know, be excited about it?
For me, I found this job actually after I'd done several other jobs and worked within genetics for quite a few years. And one of the things that's really important to me about the position I hold is that I felt like I was contributing in some real way to conservation and environmental management. And sometimes that's hard when you're locked into things like academia. But this position here that I have is really great because it kind of straddles that line of intersection between the government and management side and then the research side. So for me, it's really important to feel like the work I'm doing is contributing to something
Mhm.
and be able to see those effects in a real tangible way rather than just putting a paper out and not seeing like where that goes. For me though, it's that collaboration with with ODFW and passing on our findings to them, seeing them make these decisions and like real effective change within their agencies, whether that be leading to more management policies for endangered species or something as simple as looking at like seasonal operation of our hatcheries and when to take fish and when not to, things like that. And so I think I felt pretty lucky when I got this position that it really had the best of everything that I was looking for.
Yeah, that sounds really exciting, and I bet it's good to be able to, like, see your work, like, pushing forward and, like,
Mhm.
progress. That's really awesome. Yeah. Um, what do you hope to see in the future with your job, like, with STEM? Like, do you have a goal that you're trying to reach or, like, a certain point of success?
I don't think there's like a big point of success really in the position I am, but I would say every day you're working towards better collaborations in research and management. So more it's about the field you're working with and the kind of changes you can affect within conservation. So being able to see new techniques, new research, working with people closely in other areas, whether that be other states. Like we work very closely with like the Washington Department of Fish and Game, being able to do collaborations like internationally and finding that we are all working towards the same goal and trying to essentially do better by our environment and our animals and species and also the science and research itself. So I think those are probably the most exciting goals of mine is finding new techniques, new tools that we can use to help further our field.
Mhm. Back to kinda what you were saying with, like, helping different species, like, is there anything that we can do as the community to, like, help you with those, um, like, to help support the stream life and wildlife?
Well, one of the first things is I'm sure is you're deep inside the STEM world already know, is being good custodians of our earth and practicing good management, whether that be leave no trace policy or checking and making sure with your local areas, whether there are closures, things like that for safety, not only of yourselves, but of the species and environment. Other things that we do work a lot with, and not necessarily me directly, but a lot of our collaborators, is we do work with people in doing research and helping people do basically civilian approach research, is that they'll have people out there doing collections of data, whether they're seeing certain species at certain times, whether they're volunteering to help out on like spawning ground surveys or things like that. There's ways that you can get involved like that, even if you're not directly involved in the field.
Yeah, that's good to know that we can help out and assist without like actually coming in, you know. Um,
Working in a lab every day.
finding the DNA. That's good to know
Yeah.
to support the people that are in that field. So that's wonderful. What advice do you have for like STEM aspirers, like people who are like interested in your field? Do you have any advice for them if they're like maybe trying to reach the same goal that you're already at?
Sure. I think the main one I can say is like try everything. Try everything, see what you like, explore your options. There's so many different ways to be involved in whatever your interests are, and there's not just one right path, whether that's like someone who's told that the only way to like do medicine is be a doctor. That's not necessarily true, right? There's people who do research that help further the field, whether that's doing drug assistant or pharmacology or techniques or helping engineering, building robotics that people need for surgery. All of this is all part of the field. And I think that there's a place for everybody in whatever they're interested in. They just need to find it. So I guess my biggest advice is just explore and don't be afraid to like put yourself in to new or uncomfortable opportunities that you're not necessarily think that, oh, am I like gonna do well here? I'm a little, nervous. Just try it.
Yeah, that's so wonderful to know. And you're such a role model. Thank you so much for telling me
Thanks.
that. Yeah. I know that lots of other boys and girls that watch this video will be really excited to know that they can try anything they want to. I think my last question that I had, was did you ever feel like your dream was out of reach? And like, when you were trying to get into your career, was there any like challenges that you faced that were like really hard?
Sure. I think for a long time, my hardest thing was trying to figure out exactly what I did want to do. So being in that exact same position that you and other people are in, just starting out, I had gotten into genetics work in my undergrad. And when I was a student, I did a big research project over the summer at Duke University, where I was at the time. And it was my first kind of major interest into doing genetics, and it was not something I'd ever done before, actually. It was a project that I just happened to be able to connect with my advisor on, and he had the research like position open, and I took it on, and it was a field that I'd never looked at before, was never even sure I wanted to do. And that time there completely changed the direction of like what I wanted to do with my career. And I ended up graduating undergrad and not sure if I wanted to like continue to grad school or what. And I guess my big advice is there's no harm in taking time off and figuring that out. I ended up taking a year off after undergrad and going and working for a nonprofit institute in Belize, actually. And I worked there for about a year doing scientific monitoring. And so that involved a lot of outdoor work, actually, like diving and things completely different to what I do now. But that time there really helped me like think about what I wanted to do. And I ended up deciding that I did want to go further with genetics and ended up applying to grad school, getting into a program, and then from there, finally figuring out that, yeah, this is the kind of path I wanted to take. But it took a lot of back and forth and a lot of time and searching for me to really make that decision and pull the trigger. And I felt that there was like I remember being in the position and thinking that, oh God, I'm not like all my friends are going to grad school right away and I don't know what I'm doing. And I really felt like I was floundering. And taking that time off to really find what I wanted to do was probably the best thing I could have done at that time. Because afterwards, I came out a lot more clear on the path that I was interested in.
That's good. And it's good to know that like passions take time too. Like it takes
Mhm.
time to find what you want to do. And that's good. I think for people to hear that others have experienced that too, so that if they are feeling that same way, then they feel supported, like they have a community. So that's good. Thank you so much for talking with me. It was really great to be able to hear all about your career. And I'm so inspired by everything you guys are doing at Oregon State. So that's just so wonderful.
Thanks for having me. This was great. I'm also, I guess, good. I was just gonna say, really inspired by all that you're doing, especially with your position and your blog and everything. I like looked at your links, and that's incredible. So
Thank
I'm so excited for everything that I'm sure you're going to accomplish.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. Yeah, it's role models like you that keep pushing me forward. So, yes. Thank you so much.
No problem. Have a great night.
Yes, thank you.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye.